What's going on, Laker fans? Welcome to Lakerland. I am Christian, Mr. AllOfTheAboveEnt, here to, of course, talk the Los Angeles Lakers. And as far as Lakers basketball, there hasn't been much as of late. It has been an actual stretch where we haven't really played many games. We did beat the Nets recently, so that was a big win carried by a dominant Anthony Davis performance. Go figure, AD, when you drop 35, we can get a win. I'm just saying. But yeah, that was, I guess I'll say, a big win, but at this point, any win we can get is a big win. We didn't have LeBron James, and Nets didn't have anybody. They look worse than us. So they had KD, which obviously is one of the best players in the league. But besides that, I'll let KD tell you who he has around you, because it's a bunch of scrubs. They really are not a good team. And that's crazy for a Laker fan to say right now. I was watching that game, and I was like, wow, the Nets are a bad team. And we won. So I'm glad that was actually able to happen and be done. But besides that, what I do want to talk about is this pivotal moment of the year. I know that's crazy to say a little more than 10 games in, but that's what happens when you start 3-10. This is a pivotal next stretch of games for the Los Angeles Lakers because, one, our schedule starts to ease up just a little bit. Compared to the teams we were facing before, we now get to see some easier teams that we will discuss about shortly. And also, it does look like it's official. Dennis Schroder and Thomas Bryant are coming back. They both had thumb injuries. Ironically, I don't know how that happens at the same time, but they're both coming back at the same time. I mean, that seems to be the rumor as I record this, so if it's not exactly concrete, maybe it's not concrete just yet, but regardless, they will be coming back on these next stretch of games, and it is going to be important for us. Very important, because one, looking in the mirror, we need wins. We are a poverty team right now. I know Lakers are a very historic franchise, but right now our record shows poverty. We are currently, I believe, 3-10. It's hard to say. But if there's ever a chance to turn it around, maybe it's now. We do have a chance to stack some wins today. For example, we see the Pistons. Then we have Spurs, Suns, which, we could chalk that up as an L most likely. Spurs, Pacers, Blazers, Bucks, which we're probably going to lose, but then Wizards. We have some potential to possibly gain some wins. And we also have two players that maybe we didn't realize how important and how much we needed them in the beginning of the season, but damn it, we can use all we can take. So with Dennis Schroder coming back, what is that going to look like? With Thomas Bryant coming back, what is that going to look like? I want to start it off with Thomas Bryant. When we signed him, I loved the move. Thomas Bryant was a rookie with us, and I liked him a lot as a rookie. I actually did want to keep him, and I was upset when we ended up not keeping him, and he either traded or went to the Wizards. I forgot exactly how that happened. But long story short, Thomas Bryant returns, obviously after a ACL injury, I believe. And what Thomas Bryant are we going to get? Now, when we signed him, I thought it was also a good deal because before the injury, he was well on his way to get a decent contract around the league. And now we are getting him for a minimum. So when you go for a minimum, which is all we have to offer, he's probably better than that. At least I hope he's better than that. But regardless of what he is, he needs to show us that he can play basketball. In preseason, we didn't really see too much, but honestly, we're a completely different team already than what we were in the preseason. So I'm interested to see how it's going to work, because we don't have Damian Jones. So with Thomas Bryant coming back, does that take away minutes from Wenyen? Do we actually, have another center playing? Because we've been playing pretty much only AD at the center. And then possibly on occasion, a few minutes from Damian Jones, but mostly other minutes from Wenyen Gabriel or even LeBron James, who's ran center a few times this year. So we got to slot down a little bit. Maybe even we see Anthony Davis and Thomas Bryant lineups, which I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if we'll even see that to begin with, but I still don't want AD playing the center for all season. So if Thomas Bryant can even give us 10 to 15 good minutes at the center mark, that changes this team a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because if not, I mean, regardless of what happens, we need to do something. I mean, that's pretty transparent at this point. But especially if Thomas Bryant isn't a viable option, if we're going to be any type of serious or any type of competitive team, we are going to need to look for a center in the trade market. And then this brings me to Dennis Schroder, who is coming back, who obviously we are familiar with. And say whatever you want. I know that first stint, it was a little weird just because he came in and it seems like he walked in with an ego, and we were coming off of a team that was pretty egoless and be a star in your role. And it seemed like Dennis came in and was like, nope, you guys want me here. Like he did seem like he wanted to be here for sure, obviously. But he was pretty adamant of, no, I expect to start. And I don't know. He definitely rubbed us the wrong way to start off the season. But ultimately, he was a pretty good option for us in that year. But we all are going to remember him dropping 0 in the playoffs. But say whatever you want about that. As far as the regular season, he did help us have a very successful season. And although last year with the Boston Celtics, and I believe he played with maybe the Mavs, maybe I'm making that up, regardless, it didn't really matter. He was not really a NBA level basketball player last year for whatever reason. But if we can get any bit of Dennis Schroder that either we had on the Lakers or, on the Oklahoma City Thunder, this can change the team entirely. My question with that is, how do we see it go down? Are we going to see Russ and Dennis minutes? Because I don't know if I like that backcourt. Now, obviously, we saw them play in Oklahoma City together, but that was a while ago. And, I don't know how I like that backcourt. So I don't know if they're going to see minutes together. But Russ is also coming off the bench now, and I imagine Dennis will be too. So Darvin Ham is going to have to definitely juggle some things just in order to give Dennis an opportunity to even succeed to begin with. But I do see the relationship with Dennis and Darvin, and it is pretty clear that Ham was a reason why Dennis is even a Laker right now to begin with, and why he chose us over a few other options that he might have had. So if Dennis Schroder can even somewhat replicate the success that Russell Westbrook has had this year, then at that point Russ is fully expungible and we can officially move on. And I hate to even say that because Russ has been better this year. And although he's had a good season, at the end of the day, he is our most tradable piece. So if Dennis Schroder can, I don't know, I can't say quickly, but if he can replicate somewhat of what Russ has been able to do this year, then those pieces that we received back in a Russell Westbrook trade would make even more sense because now we can keep on building some chips. So that is the possibility we have over these next stretch of upcoming games, but it really is ultimately up to one of our coaching staff to get it right with the rotations and putting everybody in the position to succeed and really flourish around, the right group of guys. We should also be getting Braun back so we can see for the most part how our whole squad looks, because this is the team that was constructed on paper. And we haven't got to see the team that was supposed to be constructed actually play out because of injuries. So Rob Pelinka's vision, we get to see it now. I mean, regardless, it's not going to be, I don't think, the prettiest sight in the world. I don't think Thomas Bryant and Dennis Schroder coming back makes us a contending team. I don't know if it makes us a playoff team, which is so unfortunate to say, but I'm facing grips with reality. If they play good, this season can turn around and we can have some more optimism and maybe we can change the tides just a little bit. Now, vice versa. If we don't play good and that stretch of games that I just said, we still go 2-4, at that point, I think the season's over. It has to be. So what type of decisions do you make then? Do you just this is the roster, and you kind of wait it out. And all that talk about, we know that the roster's not done. We know that the Laker fans, want more and yada, yada, yada. It was just talk. Or do we actually win some games and then make some real adjustments and real moves based off of the full roster and full pieces? Because we didn't know how important Dennis and Thomas Bryant were, but honestly, looking back, going into the offseason, those were two of our better pickups for the value. The problem is we're around a bunch of minimum contracts. If you ask me, Dennis Schroder isn't really a minimum player. At one point, we offered him, 4 years, $84 million, or whatever that contract was. And that was a decent value for him. That was his market value at the time, if not a little bit of an overpay. But regardless, it wasn't a minimum contract. And now we have him for whatever it is, 3 point whatever minimum dollars. So that can do us favors because Dennis Schroder isn't a minimum player, hopefully. He looked good in Germany too. And then Thomas Bryant, same thing with him. If an injury didn't happen, he would have been due for some money. Instead, and we know what injuries do to big men. We've seen it slow down a lot of big men, but Thomas Bryant's still really, really young. And I hope he still has a lot of gas in his tank. And he always carries himself from his rookie year to now as a very astute gentleman. I don't know if that's a great way to describe him, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I watch other post-game interviews. And speaking of, I'm still not liking Russ's energy, which is all the more reason why I think we can get rid of him. Not that, I haven't been on that train all year, but besides the play on the court, I don't like the energy off the court for Russ at all whatsoever. And I don't think he wants to be a Laker. And if anything, he's really just playing and competing hard and, playing good so he can up his value and actually get a contract moving forward. And I think he actually he worked his way out of that. I think he worked out of, at one point, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and you can go back and watch the videos, I thought Russell Westbrook will no longer be an NBA player. I think he bought himself more years on his career. And props to you for that. I do not want to see nobody not make money and not be successful. So props to you for that. Just if Dennis can replace what we've been getting out of Russell Westbrook or be any type of productive, we need buckets, we need defense. So I think if he can give any of that, then we are in a better position than what we were just a few weeks ago. So it is going to be interesting what this next stretch of games brings. Ultimately, we need to win because if not, this season is done. And you can argue that the season is done already, but definitely the season is over, which, you know what, at this point, fine with me. I'll call it a day. I'll watch these games a lot more stress-free, with my feet up, chilling, not really with a care in the world. I kind of have been anyways because I haven't been able to take this team serious. But maybe the team's starting to change. We got to win. We can bring a few more together. Apparently, LeBron's been more vocal in practice. AD's been more vocal in practice. And maybe this is the stretch of the year where everything can change for the Lakers. That's going to be me being optimistic, and I'm going to be positive until tonight. Because if we lose against the Pistons, who's coming off of a back-to-back, would Cade Cunningham out? Would I believe Isaiah Stewart out? Yeah, man. It wouldn't be a pretty sight. It would not be a pretty sight. So we can either do really good or we can completely basically forfeit the rest of the season. And we're about to find out very, very soon. Probably the worst thing we can do for my mental health is just go like 3-3 because it's just going to do nothing for me. And then it's going to feel like last year where I feel like there's a glimmer of hope where maybe we can switch gears. Maybe we can make the play-in. Maybe we can even upset somebody. We have LeBron and AD. I at this point, I want to see one spectrum or the other. Let me know if you guys are actually with it, or let me know if you guys are just another failure of a Lakers team. Just show me which one you are, because right now I'm leaning towards this side. We have Anthony Davis. We have LeBron James. I would love to never count them out. And ultimately, we're about to find out very, very soon, people. So let me know what you guys think. How important are this next upcoming games? What does that mean to you? What does that mean for the Lakers? But ultimately, Dennis Schroder, Thomas Bryant coming back, do you think they make a difference? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to be optimistic. Yes, they are. Let's go. Dennis Schroder is back. Thomas Bryant is back. Let's win some games and maybe dig ourselves out of this hole that we are in. Thank you guys for watching. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And if I don't, have a great day, great evening, and good night.
Yeah, I got the game all in my hand, ooh, and yeah, pop out with the drip and make a fan drool. You could risk it if you want, this ain't no fan duel. Yeah, I'm in a Benz cool, yeah, stepping for the breeze.